Okay, so let's get back to where we were and let's actually start doing some styling for our web pages. Okay, so we got done reading the article. At the end of the day, just because you can play with color doesn't mean that you should play with color. You want your website to draw traffic or visitors, not turn them away because of the obnoxious colors you can select. And first thing we are going to start with is color. With CSS, a color is most often specified either by its name, like red, a hex value, or an RGB value. So I've given you links to W3 schools. When we say a color can be specified by name, you can click on that link, and in W3 schools, I give you a list of all the different colors that you can use just by its name. And then I also give you links to the color wheel, which you've seen before. Um, and of course, if I stretch this out, you can go anywhere in the color wheel, and it's going to give you both the hex and the RGB for your reference. Now, I'm going to go ahead actually and let's make this a little bit bigger because we're going to stay here for a bit. Okay, so we're just going to start simple with color. Now, what you should do is go to W3 schools. Let me close some of these other ones just so we can get back to the regular old homepage. So this is where you start, and we're going to go learn CSS. And you can see that CSS is categorized by what you want to style. So we're going to start with color. So I'm going to click here. Now, just like with other things in W3 schools, it's a great place to learn how to copy code. So, for example, like the first thing I want to do is give you an example of how you might um, style color with a heading. And so we have stuff like this going on. This is a good example also because it's showing you the two different things we're going to, or it shows you how you can either use a selector by, or you can use a selector by the element name, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So to make a long story short, let's just grab this one right here and we're going to edit it. Since we're just focusing on color itself, let's go to our notepad. So this is what we do. I'm going to paste that in, but I'm going to get rid of the second thing here. All right. So in our document, okay, so the way this works is I'm going to pull this document back up, and I'm going to go back to earlier when we were talking about the property value pairs and the selector. So the property we're going to style is the color, and the color we're going to pick is navy. So the question is, what is that going to be applied to? So I'm going to scroll down a little more. And that's where this selector comes in. So when I type H1, that means on every page that I use the H1 heading, it is going to make the color of that text navy. So we select the element from the HTML page, we put the curly brackets, we put the name of the property, a colon, and the value. In this case, the value is a color. So I'm going to go ahead and do a file save. Now, as a reminder, if I go through and scroll through all my web pages really quickly, I can predict what's going to happen. So if I go to let's go to the top, and I don't like to scroll and talk at the same time, but I have one place here where it's going to be blue. If I keep going down, I'm wondering, do I have any other H1 headings on the first page? It doesn't look like it. Let's go to the pizza page. Shaver's Pizza Place will be blue, but I don't believe there's any other place. And candy, my favorite candy will be blue. and media, YouTube video, and audio will be blue. So now, remember, every page is already linked because we kept using the same code every time. Each one of these pages is linked to our styling sheet. So we should be good to go. I'm going to go to the top of this page and the top of this page. And that one's right there. And we're linked here. Okay. So to make this work, we're going to hit Save. File. Save as. We should be in the demo website and hit Save. We're going to replace. Let me see. Let me do that again. I don't know. Something weird happened. The file's already opened in the Notepad++. Okay. Well, I'm not sure exactly why it said that. And let's see what this little dot says. I don't know. Okay. So now let's go to our web page and let's do a refresh. And all right, it's a little bit difficult to see, but that did turn blue. And if I scroll through, all of those items are blue. Now let's do a more obnoxious color. So what I'm going to do is let's make them red. I know red is a color by name. The reason I want to do that is just to make it more obvious. Okay, so now we're going to go back and do a refresh. So it's definitely working. So that tells me my page is working. Now, at the end of the day, just because we can do things with color doesn't mean we should do things with color. So you're probably saying to yourself, well, most websites don't really do things like that. Most websites don't make headings the first thing that we see on a page red. I'm like, I know, but I'm just doing this for illustration purposes. Now, let's say I wanted to style in terms of color. You can style anything you can with color. But let's try H2 headings. So once we get one of these working, copy and paste is your friend. So let's go ahead and do another example. But let's style all H2 headings. And instead of using color by name, let's go back to our document. And I'm going to scroll down to where we're talking about color. And let's select an art color using HTML. Let's pick something with the color wheel. So I'm going to pick something in like the green, in the green neighborhood. So I'm going to pick this color green. So this is what I'm going to use. So I'm going to select this. Now, just so we know what we're doing, I'm going to scroll down. There's color by name. I'm going to hit the back button. So color by name. And let's hit next. And I'm looking for an example where we use, I can't really find one, so I'm just going to guess. I'm just going to paste that in there. That's a color by hex code. So that means our H2 should be some shade of green. And again, that's going to be every H2 on every page. So let's go ahead and do that. And it worked. So here must be an H2 and here and here and here. And if I go through every page, anywhere I used an H2. So I obviously didn't use H2 on this page. I didn't use H2 on this page. But I know I did on the media page. So I used it right there. So that's basically how it works. So that's how we can style color for text. And we're going to use color. We're going to use that property value pair in other places as well. So let's go back to our document. And next thing we're going to do is background.